So good morning to this series of the nuts and bolts of leadership. It's amazing to see all of you again who are connecting with us on this autumn day. And today we have a very special guest and perhaps a dear friend of mine, my absolute walking buddy by now, Robin Botha, who is a experienced chartered accountant and has been in the business for many years. And I'm sure he's got many gruesome stories to tell of what large corporates as well as entrepreneurs do in their business. He works for CTF Accounting Services and is an absolute guru when it comes to anything from supporting large corporates and small entrepreneurs or business owners with all of their niggly tax issues, financial issues, and all of that. So he is an absolute a guru and wisdom and a dear, as I say, friend who I deeply respect. So, Robin, it's all over to you. Today we're going to talk about 5 questions, or maybe it will be more, I'm sure, in our discussion, of what business owners really need to know, what the common traps are. I guess you get many questions asked that are very similar. And let's start with a very simple question, and I think that's often very applicable for, I guess, smaller businesses and entrepreneurs on what accounting package do I actually use? Do I just do this on Excel or do I actually go fancy here?
Kirsten, firstly, thank you so much for having me today. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure to join you this Friday morning. And like you said, we are business partners and became close friends and walking buddies. So nice to be part of your show today. Let's talk about business. Yes, accounting packages. Many small business, as they say, get designed on the back of the proverbial cigarette box, and quite a few businesses, as they grow, keep on being managed on the back of a cigarette box, and that becomes a problem for many business owners. Where it becomes so admin intensive that it actually hampers the growth of the business. So today, there is a wealth of cloud-based accounting packages available, from as little as just over 100 Rand a month to your premium packages that run, it's dollar-based, but around just under 600 Rand a month. And that will take care of all your accounting needs, your invoicing, your bank statement, fed electronically into your accounts and all of that. And that streamlines your business. And that gives our business owners the chance to actually focus on why they started the business in the first place.
And what would you say becomes the hindrance or the Achilles heel for not having an accounting package, a cloud package, and running it off that cigarette box or Excel spreadsheet?
So like I said, firstly, it becomes an admin burden for the business owner, and being so close to the business, quite often the business owner does not have anyone or doesn't trust anyone to actually take that over from them. Secondly, it will impact your cash flow, because if you do not invoice your clients on time right after you did the business, you won't get paid on time. Our accounting packages send out automatic reminders if people haven't paid. So without you, while you are quietly sleeping in bed thinking about your next business venture, your clients are reminded that they haven't paid you yet.
And I think something common I experience within small business owners is also that they scared of using these packages because they just feel overwhelmed with them. But nowadays they've really become super simple. You don't have to be a CA to manage these accounting packages.
Yes, quite correct, quite correct. The accounting packages in the SME space has evolved quite tremendously, and it started off way back when with a company called Xero, which is personally my favorite accounting package, which I personally use as well, and it started off as an accounting package for non-accountants. So they said, let's put our users first, our business owners first, and the accountants can come second. And it has absolutely evolved, and it's still, they say, make business beautiful, and it's to make it just easy to do business within an accounting package.
Yeah, so we've got a few people who are joining and are saying they love you and you're the favorite accountant. So you're already getting affirmation of that. And for the people who are listening, if you do have specific questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box and we will then throughout the session answer them. So the next question I have for you is, I want to start a new business, and where do I get the funding from? Is your advice to fund it yourself, or do I go and get a loan? And if so, what's the best way of getting a loan? I mean, we know how difficult it is to get loans for, I guess, startups or small to medium sized businesses. So tell us a bit more about that.
That is an absolutely wonderful question, Kirsten. And starting a business, firstly, let me just say, is a daunting concept. As exciting as it is daunting for everybody. And I'll just start by saying, when you think of starting a business, make sure you partner with a financial professional, because that will just take so much of your worries, of your concerns, just away from you, so that you can be comfortable and just focus on what you actually started that business off to begin with. Now funding that business, there's lots of financial institutions that love to fund businesses, but they love to fund businesses that are there. They fund existing businesses for growth. So my advice generally to entrepreneurs is, start small, fund the business yourself, because quite often, as soon as you get external funders, your administrative burden, grows exponentially with reporting to those funders, and basically you will have a new boss in the game, which is why you started off this business in the first place, is to not have a boss and be your own boss. Secondly, these funding structures quite often as well come linked to ownership. So you will have to give a portion of your business away with this funding. So your best source of funding is always that rich uncle that loves you way too much.
Unfortunately, we always don't have that rich uncle around.
Yeah, but keep on looking. So yes, keep those funds in-house as far as you can to start off with, because it's so much easier to sell something that is real, that you have evidence and history of, and say, listen, I can make this amount of profit. So those funders will be much more keen to actually throw money at this business, or other investors to actually invest at a premium.
Thank you. That's very helpful. So we're all going to hope we find this rich uncle in our businesses somewhere. And then what happens to the mindset? I think it is, and I'd love to hear your comment on it, that many small business owners and entrepreneurs have about paying themselves, because very often it's paying all the operational expenses, and if there is a little bit left, then I'll pay myself. And they can many years not go without an income, and then you need a double rich uncle because you're funding the business and somehow you need funding yourself. So what's your comment on that?
Okay, so yes, actually paying yourself is one of my favorite topics within business, and it is all about why did you start up this business? Everyone starts up a business to make some money, and that money only becomes usable once it is externalized out of the company into an individual's estate. So when it hits your own personal bank account. And there are lots of pitfalls, with taxes, dividends taxes, payroll taxes, income taxes for individuals and companies that have to be overcome in this process. So my first answer is yes, you have to pay yourself. A company cannot fund personal expenses because that is legally not allowed. So you need to externalize some funds out of it and make sure that you pay yourself. And that can be structured either through a monthly payroll or an annual or a biannual director's fee on which you will be taxed accordingly. We have quite a few models where we maximize the tax efficiency between paying yourself as well, through other options and avenues, like dividends out of post-tax profits in a company, where your shareholders and can be paid, because there are essentially three relationships that any individual has with their own company. And it starts with a shareholder, and secondly, as a director, and thirdly, as an employee. And each of those relationships comes with its own benefits and responsibilities, and its own tax consequences if there's benefits that arise out of those relationships from a company.
You're so right. I mean, without realizing it, there are three key relationships, and I can see how quickly those can be muddied in a business, and one makes irrational decisions. And I think then it's through an accountant who then says, no, you can't do that, or that's the best strategy there, or if you do that, it's going to have a knock-on effect on your personal income tax. So I can see how that really is key. And I mean, you speak about dividends. I mean, it's ideal if we can get to that point where you can pay dividends within an organization. But what happens in an organization, and I know it's perhaps a morbid question, but it is reality. If you are the main shareholder, or it's a solo entrepreneur business, and that person dies, what happens to that business? How do you best prepare the business for it? Because you've put so much in it. I mean, it is an asset somewhere. Well, you hope it is. What happens to it?
Yeah. So yes, we all start a business, and the only goal is to actually fund our lifestyle, keep the kids in school and bread on the table and those kind of things. But what a lot of business owners forget, that you are not just generating income for yourself, but you are in fact building an asset which you will and should be able to sell down the line, as this business that you have created and grown into a revenue generating enterprise. Now, when someone dies, and that unfortunate event does happen inevitably, one has to be prepared and have your things in place. Firstly, you have the various types of insurances like keyman policies and buy and sell arrangements, should a key player in an enterprise pass on. Secondly, if the enterprise is run by a solopreneur, you have to get into the conversation of, am I buying something that is actually sellable? Because while you are working in your business, are you the only part of that business that makes that business? And I'm sorry, I digress a little bit, and it comes to the question: are you building something that you can sell? If you look at your business today, can you sell it? Or if you walk away from that business, does it have nothing left in it?
And I think that's one of the questions I alluded to in one of the social media posts, where I said, that's a question you asked me, and it was very thought-provoking, and as well as like really putting up a mirror to ask that question: is this entity sellable, or if something happens to me, being the sole owner and knowledge content provider, is there even something to sell? So how do you shift a business, in your opinion, from being so dependent on the entrepreneur to a sellable asset?
My word, how much time do you have?
Well, you've got about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I'd say it starts with knowledge transfer. It starts with knowledge transfer, and that knowledge doesn't have to be necessarily be transferred to another person, but knowledge transfer in writing down your processes, your business secrets, your what's and how's about the business, and actually documenting those. And there are lots of specialists out there, who have the skills to actually assist businesses in documenting all their processes, and making sure that without you, that whatever's in your head as an entrepreneur now becomes the property of the business, that becomes a tangible object within the business. And I think that is the key thing to bring into your business, that you have those processes and workflows documented and available for replication, should you not be around and someone else wants to walk in there and take over. Secondly, to get business partners in, either as to start off as juniors, or as equals, or as minority shareholders, with or without shareholders, but to just grow your business and share that skill with some other trusted partners within the business. And that doesn't just give you the longevity of your business, should you not be around one day, or not be able to work, God forbid. It actually skills up, the members of your community, and with that scaling up, you're growing the income generation capacity, of the country.
So what I'm hearing from your point is that there needs to be time for putting down processes, most probably policies. There is time to really be concrete about your accounting package that you use. So there's a lot of fundamental stuff that needs to happen within a company to make sure it's successful and really can grow and also expand. So there's a lot of time that needs to be spent on it. And maybe the business owner doesn't have the time. So how much of that would you be able to support with?
Well, most of it. And that is because us accountants and the accountant fraternity in the SME space, we are passionate about getting entrepreneurs to actually know where their businesses are. Looking backwards, how much money did they make? How much money can they spend going forward? And then obviously, moving into the budget process, and where do you plan to take your business forward? And together with that, partnering with our entrepreneurs, we get an understanding of their businesses and walk that road with them, and basically help them to gain a deeper understanding into the importance of the finances and the processes within the business, and just helping them to know where their businesses are. Because quite often, while you are working on the back of a cigarette box business, as previously mentioned, you have no idea whether the business is actually doing well or not, besides looking at your bank balance.
Yeah. And I do want to touch on the last thing before we wrap, and perhaps it's something that's a big misconception also for small business owners, is understanding the difference between the balance in their bank statement and cash flow.
Those two are generally linked quite closely because it all ends up in the bank. But where you are today doesn't mean that is where you're going to be tomorrow. We're having the business operate at the same level. So if you have a solid accounting system behind, that bank balance that understands where all the money is, who owes you money, who do you owe money to, and where the business is going with growth in sales, in costs, in overheads, you will know exactly what your future is going to look like, with future investment in possibly machinery or assets that you require
Mm,
in maintaining
mm,
the level of operations that you have within your business.
So knowing how to finance that and see what the cash flow is and so on and so forth. So we've run out of time. It goes so
Wow.
fast. It's I know it's super fast, and I hear that there's a huge call out for another 20 minutes chat with you on knowledge transfer. So I'm sure you'll be a guest soon again, just on that topic, which was powerful. So, dear Robin, thank you very, very much for your generous time and sharing your knowledge with us so freely. Please, will you just tell the listeners where they can get hold of you if they want to talk about anything regarding income tax, taxes, business structures, anything that really supports them on not making decisions or wrong decisions that either puts them, with not being best friends with SARS or in any other legal predicament later. So where can they get hold of you?
I am always available on WhatsApp. That's the easiest way to contact me directly, via my mobile on 082 806 3872, or alternatively on my email address with CTF services, which is Robin, ROBIN, Botha, BOTHA, at ctfsa.co.za.
Thank you, Robin. And I know you also have different packages, which if people reach out to you, there are different accounting packages, which are all palatable for the size of business. So for the small solo entrepreneur to the larger corporate organizations, I know they cover different services and obviously have different varieties and are very bespoke. So I think it's best if people just reach out to you to get an understanding what they are if they need to. So you've given your details. So thank you. May your phone ring off the hook from now.
Thank you so much. So
And
thank you so much for having me, and I hope I added some value to yourself and your network of viewers.
I'm sure you did. It's always, I think, business owners can get every tip that they can to be successful, grow their businesses, and be sustainable, not be one of the statistics of, closing down because not having thought of something regarding the financial side, the taxes, or that, because that's not what you want them to be. So thank you very much. Thank you for all our listeners who tuned in. We really appreciate all your comments that you spent the time with us. May you all have a blessed Friday, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.